To tell this audience much about Wizard's Wardrobe. You know that it's a remarkable program, a free one-to-one after-school tutorial program that works for elementary school students in Albany's South End. It grew out of a program at Albany's First Presbyterian Church, but it now relies on dozens of volunteers and it's supported by all kinds of groups in the community. Those volunteers are trained and then put together with children with whom they can build a special supportive relationship, one that can not only improve the kids' reading skills, but also help them with such attributes as motivation and self-control and self-esteem. Stimulating creativity in youngsters is one of the noticeable outcomes of the tutoring done by Wizard's Wardrobe volunteers. And that is because, of course, reading opens windows to whole other worlds for children. And learning to read and enjoy reading, as the students of Wizard's Wardrobe do, gives them the opportunity to write creatively about what they know for the rest of their lives. So we're here with Eric and Deb Fagans to talk in what this section of the program we call the Founders Interview. And I guess that starts with saying to Eric and Deb, tell us about the founding. How did it happen that this wonderful organization came to pass? Where did it start?
Well, we had been volunteering in Giffen Elementary for something like 6 years. There were some 20 people from First Pres and others engaged in doing that. And typically we would say, gosh, we wish we could do more. And eventually somebody put us on to a TED Talk that did just that.
Yeah, and it got us very excited. And we decided it was a one-on-one tutoring, and that's what gave us the idea of starting this one-on-one free after-school tutoring program.
And you eventually got a lot of volunteers involved. Is that what happened? You started to see if you could sign up some other church members?
Yes, yes. And we started with 20 people who were interested in tutoring. And we had 5 students when we started in mid-February of 2017. And it has slowly grown.
To the point where we had 30 plus tutors when COVID-19 paid a visit in March of this year.
Yes.
Actually, I'm surprised to hear that it was so recently that it began, because it seems like such a mature organization. It seems that you have sort of a structure and you have people beyond the church congregation, right? It seems as though you've really gotten a lot going on.
Yeah, it's 5 years since incorporation, I believe. And we had in the spring just finished our 3rd full year of tutoring.
Yeah. And we start with, first and second graders, and then they can stay with us through elementary school. But the goal is to get them reading at grade level by the end of 3rd grade.
A wonderful objective, because think of what that can mean to their lives if they aren't behind their classmates, if they feel as though they are achieving. I would think that would be very satisfying for a volunteer, right?
But by the end of 3rd grade, it is assumed that a student knows how to read. And if you can't, you just fall further and further behind. And you feel left out, you feel like a failure, you give up, you drop out. It's just a slippery slope.
Yeah.
How do the volunteers get trained? How does it become clear that somebody is ready to do this sort of mentoring and teaching?
This is one of the trainers.
I am one of the trainers. The person who is our librarian and I worked with the Capital Region Teacher Center, and we formed a program, a curriculum to teach our tutors. It started out as a 1-day training, but it has moved to a 2-day training. We work on racism, understanding racism and poverty and how that affects our students on the first day. And then we move on to brain development and the 5 components of reading on the second day and working on lesson plans. We do not have a set curriculum. Each tutor has to get to know his or her student and plan lessons according to their needs. So it's a commitment on the part of our tutors, and it's amazing how many have stayed with us through the years. So,
are most of your tutors people like you and me with this hair color?
yes, a good many of them are. But we also have a number of younger people now that have started coming out, and but with COVID, it has changed a lot because people have our color hair and are in the more vulnerable category. So we have been, thanks to the city of Albany, we received a grant and we have purchased iPads, and we are training our dinosaur-like tutors to use Zoom, and we can scan our own leveled books, and they can open them up on Zoom and work with the children across the internet. And we've provided the iPads and hotspots for children who do not have access to the internet so that this can take place. So, and we had our very first virtual training over 2 days on the net and on Zoom, and that turned out to be pretty good. I was really worried about it, but Annette Johnson, Dr. Annette Johnson, who is one of our tutors and who is a teacher at SUNY Albany, helps me with the training. And she is an African-American woman, so that we have biracial trainers and or two different colored people standing up there and or sitting in this case discussing racism. And it's really heartwarming to see how people are beginning to really understand the systemic racism we have in this country.
True.
Explain why that is important, why that's fundamental, because it seems to me that what you're saying is that before you can begin to teach, you teach the milieu, you teach the environment in which the youth are growing up. Is that what I'm understanding?
Sure. Because the environment they're growing up in is far different from the environment that most of us have lived in. It's a new ball, well, it's a different ball game. And they were not born on second or third base, but often in the dugout or just getting to the plate.
Yeah. And if we don't understand that, we make assumptions that are incorrect. And we attribute behavior to the wrong things. Often, if you live with chronic stress, like most of our children do, it affects the brain. It literally shrinks the brain. And we try to do things that help grow the brain, because you can. It's like almost like a muscle that if you exercise it can get bigger. So, and you need to know that sometimes when children live under chronic stress and don't get the attention they need, not because their parents don't care and love them, but because they're out working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads and food in their tummies, that they usually have one of 2 reactions. They either totally shut down, or they're kind of in your face. And if you don't understand that behavior is where it comes from, then that's how children get suspended from school and lose out. And then they get further and further behind. When you're in the one-on-one situation, it's a very different relationship. And the relationship is the most important part of the program, so that they have a stable adult in their lives.
Yeah. Now, we are not working with people who have taught all their lives. We're working with people who are committed to care for, understand, and be faithful to the students that they tutor.
The relationship is the most important part of the teaching. I think that's such a remarkable concept. And I would think that the teachers who are professionally engaged in the school would be very grateful to have this kind of a help, this kind of a partnership. Do you have relationships with the individual teachers, and is that how children get referred to the program? Is it from the classroom teachers?
Some of the teachers who have come to know us now do refer their children to us or to the parents. And other times we go normally to the open houses that each school has, so that we get a chance to talk to parents.
Tell me about the relationship with the classroom teachers. Is that how you recruit students or choose the youngsters who are able to participate?
Some of our teachers we have now know us and work with us and do let the parents know about our program if they feel there's a student needs that extra help. And some of them we get from open houses that each school in the area have, and we can get to talk to the parents directly there. And then they sign their child up for the program.
And we attempt to maintain that relationship with the teacher, sharing kind of monthly reports from our tutors about what the children are doing, what they're reading, and listening when the teacher says, well, these are some of the particular deficits that I see, and we try to deal with that individually if we can.
Right. And we also do some of our own testing to find the areas where a child needs help and let the tutors know that.
So let me, as we come toward the end of our time here, let me just ask you to reflect on what the experience of tutoring is like. Tell our audience, if you would, please, what it means to you to be a tutor and why you do this.
We do it because we care about the children. We do it because there are times when suddenly a light bulb goes off, and it's oh, that's what that means. We do it because personally, I feel that when children are not given an opportunity to grow to their fullest potential, we are robbing our society. We are removing the possibility of what these children can contribute as they grow up and mature. And we want to help that as much as we can. It's also a never feeling like you know enough.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn, always more to think about, always more opportunities to encourage. It's frustrating, and it's exceedingly rewarding at the same time.
You fall in love with the children when you see them. You just want to bring them all home to your own house. and you think to yourself, these kids are just as bright as any other children, and they have gotten a raw deal. And we need to make that up as a society. We need to care about them a lot more.
Well, let me just say, as a citizen of this community, I thank you for what you've done and for bringing along these children and for helping to forge a better community for all of us, therefore. So Eric and Deb Fagans, our founders of Wizard's Wardrobe, thank you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. Thank you.